It's Joe and Mike with Live It Up Ogden. You might not know this, but both Joe and I live in Ogden, work in Ogden, and have a great deal of fun in Ogden.
We are very passionate about our community. So we are going to talk to the mayor candidates for the upcoming general election.
This is an important election, so if you live in Ogden, make sure you vote. Well, make sure you vote whatever community you live in.
What do you think will be the toughest issue facing Ogden over the next 4 years?
Well, I do think that that bringing in jobs is important, and it will be tough. And we do have some good momentum, though, that's helping to carry us through. Probably one that's going to be even a little tougher than that is dealing with some of the issues in our neighborhoods. Okay, we've got some neighborhoods that are decaying, that are having a difficult time. They're very unstable in terms of they've got a high transient population, a lot of population that's moving around a lot. So, so the schools have a difficult time. The neighborhoods are a little unstable, and we need to stabilize those neighborhoods. And that can happen through through a focused effort in our neighborhoods with some. First of all, making sure that we've got plenty of jobs and business here in Ogden. That's a driver. And in addition to that, we need to make sure that we're focusing on the problems in the neighborhood, like dealing with slumlords, making sure that landlords are taking care of their properties. All of those are important issues. And working with community partners, nonprofits, other government organizations, Weber State University, others, to improve and revitalize those neighborhoods. We don't have enough resources to do it all, but we can leverage the resources we have through certain funding that we get from the federal government, as well as funding that money that we've been getting from BDO to help focus on infrastructure needs in those neighborhoods as well.
Toughest issue, I think, is still continued economic growth. That's something that is going to require a lot of attention. Right now, that the Economic Development Department sits with the Community Development Director. If I'm elected mayor, I'll move that economic development group so it's a direct report to the mayor. We meet weekly, we talk through all the different options, what they're working on, and how can we help, how can we get the state plugged in, the Governor's Office of Economic Development and the Economic Development Corporation of Utah. Most states companies that are looking to relocate come to the state level first. We've got to maintain relationships with them. So when people have work and they can put food on their table and there's some stability there, you'll see decreases in crime and in some of those other areas as a direct result of that. So I think that's something that absolutely needs to stay the focus.
I have a sixth grader. If you were going to tell the sixth grade class, what is your vision for Ogden? Give us the simple vision. What is your vision of Ogden?
The simple vision. Let's see. Ogden will have a thriving economy. Ogden will have stable and safe neighborhoods. Ogden will have a community where people want to be engaged and involved in the community. And Ogden will be a place where literally everybody wants to come and live.
Well, I've got 8 and 10-year-old daughters too that are in the Ogden School District here, and I want them to. This is a place that we can live, work, and play in so many unique fashions. And for somebody that's in 6th grade, I want them to feel safe. That's what resonates with the 6th grader. Here you can go to school, you can feel safe, you can play with your friends. We've got fantastic parks and open spaces. But for a 6th grader, I would want them to feel safe. And there are opportunities here for them as they grow up. You work hard in school, and here's what you can see and get involved in, and these are important things in your community. I've worked hard to try and get my kids plugged into the community. A lot of times in elementary school, you just get protected and you kind of go to school in the bubble of your friends, come home in the bubble of your family, and don't get involved in the community. One of the things we did with the Ogden Marathon this year, we sponsored 1,000 kids K-runners. So we went into some of the economically disadvantaged areas we have here, people that couldn't afford to pay the $10 registration fee to run that. And they had to do 3 different things. One was a little class on good eating, so you could learn how to eat a little bit healthier and how that affects you. And then we went through some training activities, so they kind of got out and moved around and ran around. And then they came on the Ogden Marathon Day, and we gave them a run, those 1,000 kids, an escorted run around, and they got to finish under the Ogden Marathon banner and finish area, and they got their bell and a medal. And so for kids that don't have an opportunity like that, it plugs them into their community. There's a sense, there's an emotional tie-in with their community. community. And so those are the things that I would try to get the sixth grader or the elementary school kids involved in and engaged in, because it's a really fun, energetic, exciting thing to do. And they need to be safe and feel encouraged and supported to do those things.
This next question really has two parts for me. There's a lot of people that don't that perceive Ogden as an unsafe place downtown. People will talk about it. I'll tell them I'm on 25th Street eating, and they're surprised. They still see it as it was a few years ago. So I guess, how do you get people to feel safer downtown Ogden? And then there's neighborhoods that need to be safer. What are your plans there?
Well, I think that our police department, they really do a good job at enforcing the law. And I really do believe that. And they've done a very good job over the last few years of making sure that the laws that we have are enforced. What I think that we need to focus on, at least I would in my administration, was making that connection with citizens. And I think that the way to do that is first to look at the community policing department within Ogden City Police Department. There's 8 members of this community policing department, and these 8 members are assigned to a specific area across the city. So we've got these 8 sectors, and it's the job of these community policing officers to connect with citizens, to deal with drug houses in their neighborhoods, to deal with bad landlord issues, to deal with issues that are kind of ongoing. And these officers assist and communicate with citizens to make them know that the police department is paying attention to what's happening, and that they're involved in taking care of the problem, and that they're making that personal connection. In fact, but part of the problem is that these community policing officers have too much to do. The areas are too large. So by reassessing our priorities within the department, I think that we can maybe have a few less traffic officers and a few more community policing officers, decrease the size of these service areas that we're talking about, and allow these community policing officers to knock on doors and ask people, hey, how is your neighborhood? What are the issues in your neighborhood? Do you have any problems? And then they're going in, getting out of their cars and connecting with folks. And they're more serviceable. We increase the service level by decreasing the area because there's less area for them to have to deal with. So having this community policing service actually connect with the citizens, communicate with them, I think will help not just improve or decrease the crime rate, but it will also connect with the citizens and allow them to know that the police department really does care, and make that personal connection that helps the citizens feel comfortable. In addition to that, I think that it's important that our police department has the resources they need to do their jobs. So making sure that, that they have cars that work, and that they have equipment that works, I think is key. And I'll think add a little bit of additional resource in that area through the budgeting process in order to make sure that that happens over a period of time, that their equipment's getting better, not worse.
And what would you do to combat crime in our community and to make our neighborhoods safer?
Well, it's a two-pronged question. I really believe that stabilizing the neighborhoods will decrease the crime in those neighborhoods. People that live in their homes and love them are more involved in their community. The community policing part, we have a limited assets that we can give to the police department or any department. You know, the city's working on a tight budget. So if you can expand the number of people that are invested in the community, with the community policing, being eyes and ears for the police department, you're going to see a tremendous reduction in crime. So I think really getting the police out of their cars and into the community and having that increase in home ownership, we'll see a big reduction in crime. I also believe, I went and toured the Real-Time Crime Center and met with Chief Greiner. There's some real innovative tools that are coming out. That Real-Time Crime Center brings in a number of different databases, Google Earth, all kinds of unique technologies that are out there now and free, but it blends them in a real unique way so they can track hot pockets of crime and get in front of those areas that are seeing, rises. Instead of being reactive, they can be a little bit more proactive. And I think there's some unique tools that Ogden City is leading the nation in, and utilizing those and supporting them and being smart about how we deploy that technology, I think gives us some real unique opportunities to knock crime down and get in front of some of these, scary neighborhoods and gang issues that we've been dealing with for so long.
How can we help the perception that Ogden can be a safer place, and how do we actually make some of the neighborhoods that need to be safer, safer?
Well, first, if you haven't been downtown, and you have that perception, it's been a long time since you've been downtown, because it is absolutely a safe place to go. there are restaurants down there now that have, we have people that come in from Manhattan. I have a friend that owned a beauty supply company, and they'd bring in these big people from Manhattan and at Los Angeles, and you know, they thought they were real city, worldly people, and they took them to restaurants and entertained them at some of the places we have on 25th Street, and they were amazed. Like, we can't get this type of food where we're at, and we think we have the best of the best, and they were just shocked. And so to have that historic flavor down there with some real eclectic restaurants that do not just the big boxes that we're seeing some of those, but the people that really care about and love what they're doing, I think it's a real unique mix that we have down there. Like I mentioned earlier, how do we get the people down there and to break down that perception? Well, those events that we've hosted, like I mentioned, we brought 70,000 different people into those events in 2010, and they get to see it with fresh eyes. They might not have a reason to come here otherwise. They have heard some negative things, or there may have been misperceptions that they brought into it, but they came down, had a fantastic event. That Ogden Marathon was rated as one of the top 10 in the nation by Runner's World magazine in 2009, and so, I mean, it sold out in less than 2 weeks with 6,000 spots. So it's become a destination type of event, and we have a lot of buzz from people that have come, they've seen it with fresh eyes, they fell in love with the community, and they've relocated here. I can count half a dozen people we know from Maui that have since moved into the Ogden area because they wanted to be on the mainland. Weber State was so cheap. It's, you know, half hour, 35 minutes to get to a major international airport. We're just so uniquely situated and have so many great strengths that we can play on. When people come in and see that, they fall in love with it. So it's been a thrill, and just, you know, a number of, I think, relatively short years to see that much excitement get generated and to see really good, positive things happening.
The community has heard much about the conflicts between the mayor's office and the city council, and you've probably experienced that having been on the city council. So what is your plan to help unify those two parties?
Well, I think the very biggest thing that needs to happen is the communication. The last couple of years, actually, there has been a pretty good communication flow, and I will continue to make certain that there is communication between the city council and the mayor and his administration. I have personal experience, as you mentioned, having been there when things weren't running so well. Times when things are running much better, and I can see, first of all, from the council perspective, what information it is the council wants and needs, and I'll give it to them and make sure that they have as much information or more than they want, just to make sure that they can make good decisions and that they feel involved in the process. In addition to that, I think that this doesn't involve just the city council, but other leadership groups around the community, Weber County government, as well as Weber State University and Ogden City School District Board. All of those need to They need to play a part in the city, and allowing them an opportunity, making that connection and having that communication with them is also, I think, very critical.
The community has heard a lot over the years about conflicts between the mayor's office and the city council, some not getting along. How would you help resolve that? I mean, what are your plans? That obviously, you can get a lot more done if you're getting along with people.
Yeah, well, I had somebody say you get a lot more done with sugar than you do with some other things, but I would agree. I think part of it's just working with mutual respect. You know, I come into this with fresh eyes. I haven't been on the city council, haven't been in the mayor's office, so I'll have an opportunity, I think a unique opportunity to come in and listen and work with people. My managing the ramp process, if you're not really listening to people and giving them reasons to invest and be excited about it, you lose them, and then you don't get them back. They don't want to come partner. It's critical that you maybe be a little bit more patient up front, make sure everybody understands their needs. You clearly communicate where you're going. If they've got concerns, make sure they're direct and you have a chance to address them. And that's the way you build any type of relationship. Would I be able to come in and make dogs and cats lie down together? Nobody can do that. I think at the end of the day you agree to disagree, but you know, I'm good at not taking those things personal, and getting into personality clashes like that, I think you lose more than you gain when you get to that point. So I'd be patient, clearly communicate what we're looking to do, and really reach out. I think it's going to require that from both the city council and the new mayor.
In the mayor's office, how would you get people to move and want to live in Ogden, where this is a place, like you said, that they want to be here?
I think that that the first and foremost is that people need to have a place to work. Okay, they need to have a job. And I think that's a very important thing that we have discussed, and I won't, ad nauseum maybe, so I won't go into it. But in addition to that, people need to feel safe. We did talk about that as well, and how I believe we can improve that safety in our neighborhood. I also think that people want a place where they can live, and that they can feel comfortable in, and that there are things for them to do. And one of the proposals that I have is that right now we're in the process of doing a recreation master plan. And this is a review of all the parks and all of the open space, and making a determination about what we really need. Other infrastructure that we could use in our parks, and other amenities that our citizens can use that will make our parks more usable, so that people who are living in our neighborhoods have more things to do that's just free to the public, by adding some of these amenities to the parks and creating connections where there weren't connections before.
We've touched on a few of these things, but specifically, what plans do you have to bring folks into Ogden to live?
Well, there are a number. I mean, we've been doing that now with these different events in the rebranding of Ogden. People are now seeing this as a place. It is the place to live, work, and play. You can afford to live here. We've got more assets for people to get outside and enjoy this beautiful, amazing environment, and we've got a real diverse economic base to work from. In 2009, when everything really hit the fan, because we weren't so dependent on one area of revenue for the city, like Park City, they lost 50% of their tourism traffic, and it really hurt them. Right. That's an area, though, that Ogden, I believe, has a tremendous opportunity to bring in new people and get them to move here. When we talked about those events, that's one of the key reasons we've spent so much time and energy working on those, because you do come in, you do an event like that. When the torch run came through downtown in 2002, there were 46,000 people that came out in 3-degree weather. It was a terrible inversion. Everybody froze to death, but they just wanted to be so proud of that. And when you have that pride in place, there's an emotional connection there. I think you're much more likely to drop roots there, invest your time and energy and money there. And a lot of the tourism-related events we've done have brought that fresh perspective and people with that new energy in. And when you finish a marathon at the end of 25th Street and you see that historic corridor, Union Station, and that great municipal building, it's hard, regardless of where you're from, for that to not tickle your heartstrings a little bit. And you have a special feeling about those environments and the places you're able to do some of that stuff. So we've tried hard to give everybody opportunities to participate in some of those different things and the new energy. And, Ogden City's done a great job of the Downtown Ogden Inc. group putting different events in downtown. So it's not just athletics. You have a tremendous number of arts events down there. I've talked with a number of people that kind of feel the same way. Arts and athletics can kind of help define communities, and it tells you a lot about the people that live there and what's important to them. And so they've done a great job on a different level, and I think keeping those different groups, now that we've seen so much energy in the last 10 years, together and energized and excited about what they're continuing to do, and make sure they get lots of pats on the back, because it's a huge volunteer effort to put all of those together. I mentioned earlier, we were 16,000 volunteer hours last year for just our 5 events. And every event, arts or otherwise, has volunteer needs, and communities have huge volunteer needs. They're the ones that go typically clean up our parks and our trails and everything else. And so letting people have that pride in place, I think, is really important to keeping them engaged and involved in what the community's doing.
Well, we appreciate you taking some time with us. Before we go, take 20 seconds. Give us your elevator speech. Why Brandon Stephenson for mayor?
Well, my elevator speech. Okay, so I think that Ogden will benefit from my proven leadership and from my experience and from my education. And I'm a very goal-oriented person, where I focus on accomplishing a goal and setting goals and making sure with a determination that they're accomplished. I'm also very action-oriented, so I want to get to it and go for it. And I think that those are all characteristics, leadership characteristics that will that will help me drive Ogden forward. I also have the ability to collaborate and to communicate and connect with people, and I think that that's an important attribute that will allow me to create those relationships that we need to move things forward, because it's never really just about me. It's, as mayor, I would be the catalyst in bringing people together around a common vision, around common goals, and gathering as much help and assistance as I can in order to push the community forward in the right direction. So it's really a matter of everyone working together, and my leadership skills, I think, would allow me to pull people together and push us in the right direction.
Well, we appreciate you taking some time with us. Take 20 seconds, give us your elevator speech. If you're stuck on the elevator with someone, why would they vote for Mike Caldwell? Why are you our mayor?
Well, right out of the gates, I'm going to say of everyone we had in the field, I was the one with the executive level leadership, and I think that's what it's going to require to keep the momentum. It's a very dynamic position to be in. The buck stops with you. It can be very lonely and isolating, but I've got that experience in doing it, and I've got great results as a result. If you look at my background and what we've put together, I'd ask to be measured on results, and I think the choice would be clear.
Well, we appreciate you taking some time. Thanks for coming.
As a resident of Ogden, this has been very informative for me.
Very important for you not to just watch this program, but watch other ones. Find out what information you can find on these candidates and make a good, educated choice to who you think will do the best job.
Get out there and vote!
See you at the polls.